Hey everybody. In this video, I want to talk to you about my voting strategy. Now, I consider myself to be a libertarian, and so I want to try to vote for libertarian candidates when I can, when they're on the ballot. But sometimes there aren't libertarian candidates on the ballot, and so I tend to settle for Democrats. Now, um, I will also vote for Democrats in some situations where there's a really tight race, and I think that my vote will really count. It'll really make a difference. And so I might not want to just use my vote to make a statement in favor of the Libertarian Party. And of course, when I vote for a Libertarian, I'm basically doing so mostly to make a statement because most of the time, maybe even all the time, they do not have a serious chance at winning. And I want to be honest with myself about that. But in this video, I want to explain a little bit more about my political ideology, and I want to talk about why I'm a libertarian. And in doing so, I think I'll also be in a position to explain why I would favor the Democratic Party as my second choice. And I think that does kind of beg an explanation, um, because a lot of libertarians tend to vote Republican when they have to vote for one of the two major parties. Um, so the libertarians are considered to be on the right wing, I think, and I think a lot of people would expect them to vote for Republicans. But um, I'll get into all of that. Okay. So I think that the major reason that I am a libertarian has to do with economic issues. So I feel that there is an unleveled playing field here today in the economy. And I think that it is unleveled, uh, well, mostly due to government interference. Okay. And it's unleveled in a couple of ways, and let me explain how. Um, First of all, I think that large corporations enjoy certain tax loopholes. Okay, they move their money overseas and then they move it back, and they do these complicated financial maneuvers. Um, and the legislatures or the Congress really does not tends not to close these tax loopholes, which helps the large corporations, but it doesn't help the small corporations because the small corporations can't really um, afford to hire the lawyers and the tax accountants who understand how to pull these tricks off. Um, so, I think that the legislators are maybe refusing to close these tax loopholes on purpose. I don't know. They're taking corporate money for their campaign donations. But anyway, in addition to tax loopholes, we have bailouts, okay? And I'm sure that everyone's familiar with bailouts. After what happened in 2008, the banks enjoyed that, and AIG enjoyed it. Other corporations enjoyed it as well. Well, I forget which which automobile company enjoyed it, but I think it was General Motors got something from the government. Um, I probably should be a little bit more aware of it, but anyway, I know that the auto industry was helped out by Obama. Anyway, so the little guys don't get bailouts. The small businesses really didn't get bailouts, and of course, a lot of people are pointing out that student loans are a problem, and the students aren't really getting any help with their debt from the government. They're not getting ridiculously cheap loans from the government to pay off their existing debt or anything like that. And I think Elizabeth Warren has pointed that out. Anyway, so there are the bailouts and the corporate tax loopholes. And in addition to that, we have subsidies. We have what could be called corporate welfare. So I think that the oil companies get subsidies, and Walmart, I know, gets a kind of indirect subsidy from the government and the people. What happens is Walmart pays their employees such a low wage that these employees have to go on social programs like food stamps, and then of course the people have to pay for those food stamps. But when the people pay for the food stamps and such, that only supports Walmart and allows them to lower the wages, so much so that the people have to foot the rest of the bill in order for these Walmart employees to survive and have families. Okay. Furthermore, there has been legislation passed that doesn't exactly help out the unions. Now, I mean, I'm not the expert on this stuff, and I keep saying I should be more informed. We should all be more informed. But from what I've heard, the unions have lost power over the past couple of years. Well, I mean, we've heard about right to work legislation. Okay, so anyway, I do believe that people have the right to associate with whomever they wish and bargain collectively, and in a lot of situations they basically have to do that in order to in order to make it so that the corporations can't bully them. Like the corporations might want to use a divide and conquer strategy and say, well, if you don't want to take this low wage, the next guy will. Well, if the next guy says, no, I'm with the first guy, you're not offering us these low wages at all, forget you. If enough people do that, then the corporations have to bow to the will of the worker. But you need to have that kind of collective bargaining, I think, in order to make things on an even keel, right? You need to give the laborers strong representation, and you need to give the managers strong representation. They each have their own leverage, and they each have their threat to just walk away from the deal completely and not work. Okay, so I think that if we were to level the playing field, we would make it easy for labor to unionize, and we would also make it easier for people to have small businesses. Okay, so those advantages that the big corporations get, the tax loopholes, the bailouts, the subsidies, those things are not enjoyed by small businesses. Okay, just to make that clear. So it's more difficult for them, the small businesses, to compete with the large businesses. So it's more difficult for people to want to get out of the situation of exploitation. Okay, so that's where people find themselves a lot today. There are a lot of new jobs being created in the recovery, but a lot of them are minimum wage jobs, or they pay close to minimum wage. So how do you get people out of that situation? You would want them to have their own businesses, or you would want them to organize and get high wages from the corporations. Okay, so where does libertarianism fit in with all of this? Well, I believe that libertarians stand for the end of crony capitalism, meaning they stand for a more leveled playing field when it comes to those things that I mentioned about corporate bailouts and corporate tax loopholes and subsidies and stuff like that. They don't believe in any of that. They believe in an actually free market, okay? So interestingly enough, libertarians who are considered on the right wing do also believe in unions, okay? Because libertarians believe in freedom. And so I've heard the libertarian candidate for governor here in Florida say that he supports unions because basically he believes that people have the right to choose whom to associate with, and if people want to associate with other workers and form a collective bargaining union, that's certainly their right. They have the right to do that. Okay, so I feel like if a libertarian got his way, um, or a libertarian, there was a libertarian president, or if we had a libertarian country, then we could get back on the right track. We could help the common person get a larger share of the pie. That's what I care about. I care about I care about income equality. Okay, I care about the people who do the work getting paid for it, as opposed to people doing the work, generating wealth, having to give much of it up to a corporation, and then only getting a pittance back, just so they can stay alive. I mean, I don't believe in that sort of thing. It really upsets me, actually. It upsets me even more that I'm asked to participate in that kind of a society. I have lots of negative feelings towards my society, and the pyramidal structure of society really is the root of those negative feelings. It just feels like I would be exploited if I were to take part in society a little bit more. Right now, I don't have a job, but when I was working, I did feel exploited, and I'm trying to find alternative business solutions for my problem. I'm trying to start a small business on eBay, but that's probably not going to go very well because eBay takes a ton of fees from you. But there are other sites, and I'm looking into it. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. So, a libertarian revolution is what I would like, and I don't think that that's going to come anytime soon. Okay. I can throw my support out to libertarians in the meantime to help it happen. I can vote for libertarians when I can to make a statement. I have registered my party affiliation as libertarian to show that libertarians have some strong numbers. I'm trying to help show that. But again, the Libertarian Party is not going to take over anytime soon. So, in the meantime, one of the two major parties is going to have to control things. Now, which would I rather have, the Republicans or the Democrats? Well, given my concerns that I've outlined here, I think you could see that I would rather have the Democrats, because the Democrats want to help the situation a little bit. They want to address the unleveled playing field a little bit. Libertarians would want to give it a complete overhaul, but the Democrats want to do some patchwork. Okay, so they don't want to completely fix everything. They just want to sort of compensate for the inequality a little bit without rooting out the main cause, which I think is crony capitalism and government interference. But the Republicans don't really want to do any patchwork at all, and they want to keep the playing field unleveled. So I would not tend to support them. Now, the Democrats want to do things like increase minimum wage, and they want to do things like pass Obamacare to make sure that everybody has health insurance. And, well, I mean, when it comes to Obamacare, yeah, there is some income redistribution. And of course, when it comes to minimum wage, it's kind of a forced income redistribution. The corporate elite are forced to give more money to the workers. Okay, so it's not something that is necessarily going to help. Okay, and or it's not necessarily something that's going to fix the problem in the long term. That's what I meant. It can help a little bit, which is why I would vote for Democrats. But what I don't like about the Democrats is that it seems as if they want to string along the situation of exploitation a little bit. It seems like what they want to do is make it so that capitalism doesn't implode in on itself. But they don't want to go so far as to make sure that people are actually keeping a good sized chunk of the wealth that they create. Okay, so making the minimum wage $10.10 an hour would not be enough. I've heard that in a lot of cities a living wage is $15 an hour. So 10-10 is not enough, and certainly it's not enough to get all the wealth that you create. So I've heard statistics that say that if wealth growth, or I should say income growth, kept pace with productivity growth, then the hourly wage would be like $21 an hour or something like that. So the Democrats aren't willing to go that far. They're not even willing to go far enough to give people a living wage in in some cities, but they are at least willing to do something. Okay, but again, it's not enough. So it's as if the situation of exploitation just continues, and it stops. These social programs, or these measures for the social good, like minimum wage, just seem to stop the capitalists from basically making it so that the workers get so little that there's almost nothing for them to spend, and then there's no money circulating in the economy, and then the economy just collapses. So Democrats are working to prevent that, at least, but they're not working to get rid of all the exploitation. All right, so that should explain then why I would go for the Democrats as my second choice, and I try to balance these two preferences of mine, Libertarian and Democrat, by trying to maximize the benefit that is potentially provided by my vote. So if I feel that there's the opportunity to make a statement and it's not going to cost anything, then I will make that statement. So, for example, in Florida, here in Florida, in the 2014 midterm elections, we have Pam Bondi as the likely winner for the Attorney General spot, and she's ahead in the polls. She's a couple points ahead, and there's also a Libertarian candidate running. So I'm going to vote for him, because if I were to vote for the Democratic candidate, Sheldon, he probably wouldn't win, and I wouldn't be making a statement. But if I vote for the Libertarian candidate, Bill Wolsifer, then I will at least be able to make a statement. I'll be making a statement in favor of something that he supports, which is the full legalization of marijuana and hemp. He wants to grow hemp down here in Florida, which of course is something that I believe in, because I think that you want to give people the ability to go into business for themselves. So why deny people a business opportunity by saying that they can't grow hemp? Why do we have to import it from Canada? You know, it doesn't make much sense. We can grow it down here. So I would throw my support to him and to what he stands for. Now, when it comes to the gubernatorial election, we have we have three main candidates. We have Adrian Wiley, the Libertarian. We have Charlie Crist, Democrat, and we have Rick Scott, Republican. And I'm going to be voting for Charlie Crist, but not Adrian Wiley, who is the Libertarian candidate. And the reason is because I feel like I can't really afford to make a statement in that particular case. I feel like I would rather vote for Crist, because that would help more people. It would provide some short-term relief if he really does what he says he's going to do, which is fight for the minimum wage and fight to expand Medicaid down here, and not reject the federal Medicaid expansion money that Republican Rick Scott did reject. So that should give you, kind of an idea of my voting strategy. Okay, so I feel like the short-term benefits of democratic relief will often outweigh the statement that I might make for a libertarian candidate, and that statement would only have a benefit in the long term. So I feel like looking at the long term versus the short term ends up helping me maximize the benefit of my vote, and it also helps me pick a good balance, between libertarian and democratic candidates. So I think that is about all I have to say in this particular video. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, you can use the information in the description below. Thank you.